Hello, everyone and no one, and welcome to another Rotten Movie Reviews. God, using the same opening for almost everything, I almost screw myself over and say the wrong thing. But today doing a re-review of the movie Drive Angry. But with me, as always, is Tier Alexander. Tier, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad we got to watch this movie again.
And as well, we have Angela, who had not seen this movie before. Angela, how you doing?
I don't know how I missed this movie for so long.
And join us
It
as
was a
well.
great movie.
And join us as well as Willett Forge. And I don't remember if you'd seen this movie before.
I had not, and Tears just hyped to watch it again because of the gratuitous nudity.
Yes, it does
Among
have
other
a
things.
lot of nudity in it. Drive Angry is the 2011 R-rated movie starring Nicolas Cage, Amber Heard, and William fucking Fitchner.
Yes. Scene
God.
stealer extraordinaire.
Yes, he plays it so well. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest Nick Cage fans, but I'd honestly say if you're looking for a Nicolas Cage movie, watch this one, especially like if you not necessarily more religious, but like a bit of a religious overtones of where things are going.
Yeah, it's Hollywood religious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for like to do the whole like brief description of it, Nicolas Cage character is dead. He escapes from hell to go after the man who killed his daughter and kidnapped his granddaughter.
And was going to sacrifice his granddaughter to bring about
what he believed would be the end of the world.
Yeah, some kind of apocalypse.
What he believes would usher in the apocalypse or grant them everything and whatnot. And
yep, and it sucks to be him because it's all a lie. And Satan doesn't like when you sacrifice kids in his name, so boo-hoo, it sucks to be him.
I mean, like,
and he got off fucking easy. Good.
Like I said, it's one of those things to where it could be based on this universe, a ploy from God in them to make people think that Lucifer is evil and that, or because of, like I said, like people who may have more ability to go with the fucking, or like to tap into, or have actually spoken to the dead and whatnot for the spiritual aspect of it, saw Lucifer in hell and thought that was what it was supposed to be.
Or it could be a misinterpretation of things. It could be that they.
That's what I was implying, is that they misinterpreted it. That the devil's not actually some, person who rebelled against, or an angel that rebelled against God. The devil is just someone who is in hell presiding over it to forever watch over the sinners, because with free will, that's the way things go sometimes.
I mean, if you're given the context, he said that Satan is the warden of the largest prison in existence, essentially.
Yep.
So, now, if you had someone the concept of a medieval peasant, the prisons would be a torture session. That's their concept of a prison. So, Satan's a fucking monster. He's the warden there, and I'm assuming all the staff do what they do in evil. Well, then again, Nicolas Cage said, like, you don't necessarily get the fire. It's just that you have to watch everything you fucked up in.
Yeah, before we get too much into it and that whole thing, I already know that me and Tier liked the movie. If I'm correct, Will liked the movie, and from what it sounds like as well, Angela liked the movie. So let's go with your favorite thing from the movie. Just one thing. We'll start with Tier.
I was going to say tits, but there were a lot of them. So I'm going to say William fucking Fitchner in every fucking scene he was in.
Yeah, that's up there. Angela?
If I have to narrow it down to one thing, I'm going to say Billy Burke as an amazing evil.
Yep. They chose the right person for that one for a villain. He fucking knocked it out the park.
It was so awful because I'm sitting here going, I hate the fact that I find that man attractive
Oh Lord.
because I hate him. I hate this character.
Yo, clown.
Hey, what's up, clown?
Like, I deeply despise this character.
But he did exactly what he was supposed to. He played. He.
Hey, brother.
Because I don't remember when it came out, and I think it came out after this movie. But he is probably the best live action interpretation of, in a way, of Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2.
Oh, he would be fucking. He's Handsome Jack.
He's a version of Handsome Jack. There's two distinct, but we'll go on to Will.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the cars, but if you're doing the Charger, it's got to be the Hemi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go with my favorite
Holy
part in the whole movie. Honestly, was when they stopped and they're telling them to get out of the car for the police blockade, and William Fichtner shows up in the fucking tanker truck, listening to "I Like It." Just comes in, they're like, "What's going on?" He's just sitting there, and you just hear the whole thing as he's hitting cars. Just that's the way. I like it.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my
and then
god!
He just walks out.
Steps out onto the next car.
Just super chill. It was.
I mean, it is the whole.
Go ahead.
That is an amazing character too.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And it's funny because William Fichtner, just like Billy Burke for this one, like he can play a good guy or like kind of in the middle of the road, because technically he's not malevolent or benevolent in this one.
I was gonna say this is literally a neutral character.
But like he can play a good villain as well.
Well, technically, he was benevolent. He showed kindness. He was like, all right, I know why you're here, and it helps me out. Go ahead and tell your granddaughter. And he did help him out in the end. Like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, but he also brought up the only reason why he really did it was because he found something interesting. He got curious, because normally he doesn't get curious. If it wouldn't have been for the whole thing of the him talking to the cultist, he never would have helped.
That's true.
Because in the beginning of it, he didn't care about freaking, Jonah King when he saw him at the thing. Like he could have ended it right then and there, been like, "There, we're done." But he didn't know everything at that point, so that's why when everything happened, he's like, "I've become curious. Why are you after him? Okay, you're not after him. He's after you. Explain to me why." And then he's like, "Well, regardless of what happens, I get what I want."
I mean, he still could have been a dick and killed Amber Heard, and whatnot. But he again,
no,
he did.
It wasn't our time.
Yeah.
Hey, don't get my hopes up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in that one, he only killed the one dude. God, I forgot that the ex-fiance, because that's the little part you guys might have missed.
That was so bad.
I think that's the little part you guys missed, where it's like the two of them were talking about how, she gave an ultimatum to her boyfriend, so he actually did propose. Then to have like the whole reason of why she left, because she came home and caught him cheating on her.
Yep. Well, it cut off. Basically, it cut off. When you cut off, it was just after that spot when she was coming to take the order at the table with the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then you came back when she was delivering some stuff to him. So I guess we didn't miss much.
No, and that one, it was basically just that the parents couldn't afford like the short stack of pancakes or something that the daughter wanted because they're poor. And so she did the one thing on the house and gave it to the one guy, or gave the other one money after twisting the shit out of his nuts.
Yeah, she's like, hey, fat fuck. Would you call me? You better tell me what you want. I need to know.
I forgot, man. Like
dead fat.
That's why it's like Tier said, like every scene with William Fichtner when he's talking with the ex-fiance, the guy goes to kick his ass with a baseball bat, breaks it in half, pins him to the wall with it, and he's like, "Answer, tap, the tap, question, tap."
No, he holds for like a few seconds. Goes, question. Oh no. I think the best fucking part was with the fucking where they're in the lookout and it's Amber Heard, him, and the two cultists come up like, we're gonna fuck you up. Oh, and the next
We're
5 seconds,
we're gonna live forever. Well, if by live forever you mean be alive for the next 5 seconds.
Next 5 seconds, he flips the coin, goes through one's head, comes back out, kill the other.
Well, went through his chest.
Oh, my bad. But it impaled itself on one guy's head. That's one hell of a coin. I want one.
And then the fact the fucking bullets for the God Killer has Deus Volux Nix, or Volux Nix, which
yes,
loosely translates to God's swift death.
yes. All right, it begs the why would Lucifer have something like that? It is all right. Given the context that he is the warden of hell, that means that one is designed when there's truly a soul that cannot be repentant or he can't reform. He has to destroy it.
Plausibly.
Like it's the only reason. If Lucifer is the warden and he's appointed by God to be the warden,
That or
only reason,
that or it could be
What?
had to be used because of any other worldly beings that would be from heaven or hell that may go through to try to rebel or to cause issues or to try an uprising, like to try to like break everyone out of the prison. Like the whole fact that they
That's
don't
for sure.
the whole fact they don't explain it is what makes it better. Like it
Oh,
lets
yeah.
us theorize it. We don't need to know everything.
Oh, true.
Hmm.
But like you said, the theories behind it in
Yeah.
assuming the context.
And I'm pretty
He's a
sure they
fucking
chose
evil.
John Milton not just because of the Paradise Lost. Like he's not the John Milton, but don't forget John Milton is also Al Pacino's character's name in The Devil's Advocate.
Yep.
Which is also a reference to Paradise Lost.
Yeah. Oh, that's what so much of this is.
Well, Paradise fucking found apparently because he
No,
gets it in
that's
the
the
head.
That's actually
that's
the
the sequel.
to Paradise Lost.
I never knew.
Paradise
And I love how in the
Yeah,
end
that's true.
he's
Paradise. Redeemed.
breaking the skull. Goes. He's about to throw it away. Goes up.
What's in his pocket?
What's he going to do? Put me back in the hole.
I was actually waiting to see if it would actually do a complete run through, like Paradise Lost through Paradise Redeemed.
No. But yeah, like with him
How was
being
that?
like the accountant and everything as well, because you got to remember with him having the coin, yeah, like Will said, with it being Quran, because although technically the boatman isn't a retriever of souls, he's a ferryman of souls.
Right.
Thanatos would be the retriever of souls.
I mean, the coin could be a reference to.
Yes, the coin is
20
a
pieces of silver.
yeah, the coin is a reference to paying the boatman.
I think it's that. I think it's the 20
The coin
pieces
is
of
a
silver.
reference to the fact that they turned around and called him the accountant.
Yeah, they also called him the accountant, which is why son of a bitch, Cage calls him, asks if he thinks he's Anubis, since he was in charge of
Yeah,
deciding.
he keeps making up names for him. Like, what are you, Wotan?
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Is
Loki.
it's supposed to be like that whole thing of it could be
All the
the
gods
basic.
down.
All the gods are different. Or it's like are basically the same beings, or just by different name, depending on where that was in the world, and the time.
Okay.
I mean, that's one
What
way
do
to
you-
look at it.
Yeah, I still think it's a reference to the 30 pieces of silver.
I mean, that is one of the trivia, that it's supposed to be a reference to that whole thing.
Still a good.
Then it's
fucking
pretty
coin.
funny
I want
because
one.
for the original script, Milton was supposed to be like a 70-year-old dude.
Well,
And then
that would have been even better.
when
Actually, that would be interesting if it was a reference to the 30 pieces of silver, because that would indicate that this is what happened to Judas after he died.
true.
He has to be in the. He has
Because
to be the
Judas
assistant.
was actually the accountant for the apostles.
That could work. But no, it's
He's forced to be Satan's assistant.
Well, technically, it was the keeper of the purse, but that would be the accountant for the apostles.
then to finish what I've been trying to finish for a moment.
Mhm.
Once
Sorry.
Cage expressed interest and they went through and decided to go with him, they went with the character's age being irrelevant.
Again, it would have been even better if he was a 70-year-old man and it's again his granddaughter, and he's
Well,
going
then
back.
age-
You know what?
Go ahead, Angela.
I was just saying hello to Mr. Scott. He joined us in chat.
What's up, Scott?
Oh.
Howdy.
The age really is, in a respect, irrelevant because dead men don't age either.
That's true.
So you go to the passage of time, he would have been about right to have a daughter in that. Okay, so he wasn't around for the birth of the granddaughter, obviously.
Yeah.
But but the whole thing of, so he was around and then he went and got his buddy out of the bad situation they were in and died in the process. His buddy kept aging and he didn't.
Yeah, because I'm about to say,
Mentioned, like,
but
everybody thought he was dead and his license was
uninspired.
expired and very old.
Him not knowing what a cell phone was. Yeah.
Yeah, because it would be that he would have died, and then because of dying, he would have stayed the age of when he died.
Yeah, just hold on. So again, think about it this way: when he died, you have everything that he had on him. So essentially, it is like a fucking prison. And when you get out, you get all your personal effects back.
Oh God!
Because again, he had his wallet.
Going through the trivia, and notice the ID was a bit burnt around the edges too.
Yeah.
Apparently, looking through the trivia, Brie Larson had originally tried to audition for this film.
Thanks, God. At least she.
Go ahead.
I mean, she's not a terrible actress, depending on what she's in. It was once she got the whole thing for Captain Marvel that she lost her fucking mind. So,
No, unicorn fucking store.
Hey, I could have gone with that one too, because you figure, I mean, one of the perks in this is watching Amber Heard get her butt kicked. You can just switch
That's
it out
true.
for watching Brie Larson get her butt kicked.
Yeah.
I don't condone violence against women in general, just those women in particular.
I don't condone violence against women, except for Brie Larson.
And Amber Heard, apparently.
Amber Turd, yes.
How about I
deserves-
just don't condone violence? It's just sometimes it's going to happen.
depending on the violence, I'll condone. Depending on what the violence is, I might condone it. If it's mutual combat between two dudes, because of like martial arts training, or two guys are at a bar and they have the whole thing and like they step outside and then they have a fight and then they're done after that, I'm fine with it. But just try to beating on people for no reason, I can't condone.
Look, I condone violence, especially if it's yeah. Wow, I didn't know he was that old. Damn, he's ancient.
Ooh,
Samuel L. Jackson, he's 76.
yeah, he's pretty old.
And he was born in DC.
Okay.
Man.
Focus.
Sorry.
This is Tyr. He can't.
I'm trying to figure out why we suddenly got to Samuel L. Jackson. He wasn't in
Okay.
this movie for people who haven't seen this movie.
Well, no, it's I'm going through looking at horrible Brie Larson shit, and I accidentally
Oh.
clicked on Samuel L. Jackson's name, and
Okay, well, while we're
It
going on
popped
that, what was the one? What's one thing you didn't like about the movie? So, Tier.
Amber Heard.
Honestly, with this being before her whole issues and whatnot, I didn't really have a problem with her. But okay,
It tanked the movie.
Angela.
Things I didn't like about. Come back to me.
That's just one thing. But Will.
Well, I got to disagree with Tier. Amber Heard really didn't tank this movie, and that's kind of surprising. I mean, almost shocking. But yeah, I got to agree with you on that. As far as I don't have a whole lot to pick on. I guess it's down to some of the Hollywood tropes, like the exploding cars and guns that are magic bullet manufacturing.
Yes.
Well, I always know they're gonna do that. Angela, did you think of one yet?
They hurt some really pretty cars.
That's true.
Well, for that, they just do it to mocked up shells.
They hurt some really pretty cars.
Mine
She
is
doesn't. She doesn't care if it's a fake shell or not. They're pretty looking cars.
One of my biggest ones wasn't necessarily like, I mean, yeah, they only had a few guns that fired more than they should, but was how many of them had a 1911 like the one Cage had, or the freaking Gold Cup national match that got held up to Heard's head in the church, and the fucking hammers forward. There were single action fucking pistol. The fan of the hammer, that's understandable for that whole thing. Granted, on that one, I want to say it didn't have the actual hammer meant for fanning.
Oh no, I didn't. It's not me disliking it or anything. I actually like it, but
Yeah.
it was the fact that he fucking he did the whole proper, fanning of the hammer. Like, it's rare you see shit like that, especially and with that type of gun. People don't do that anymore for revolvers.
Well, yeah, because it's a single action pistol for that one. It's one of the few ones you can do it with. The regular SA, or it's like the ones that came after that, the SADA, it doesn't work that way because it has different internals.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because with it being able to have the double action trigger pull won't allow it to do that. So especially like the old ones, you could fan a lot easier. One, because they didn't have a trigger bar or a hammer block or any of that stuff in there. So quite literally, all you're doing is holding the trigger down and you're moving the hammer back because that's going to rotate the cylinder. And as soon as it goes and hits the primer, it's going to, ignite the primer, fire it.
I learned something new.
Yeah, like the mechanism on a single action army is exponentially easier than on a SADA gun.
Again, I learned something new.
Hocus pocus.
And the
What?
other thing that bugged me was just like
Focus.
I would say for anyone that's like, but it's very common in movies as well for them not to have the person actually fucking aim properly. Although Tom Atkins as the captain was pretty fucking hysterical.
Yes, I love Tom Atkins.
But then when they're doing that whole driving chase scene after the church, they show the one freaking person, the Ford Bronco, shooting a Desert Eagle, and it's like, a whole lot of good you're gonna do. You're not even shooting forward, you're shooting off to your left.
Oh shit. The ending battle where he just drives around and just mowing them down and fucking shooting. That was fucking amazing. Oh, and the beating him with his own daughter's femur. He really should have shoved that shit up his ass.
That though is why when I have the hip replacement, I have to have them save the femur for me because I want that cane.
I mean, it's your femur. Do what the fuck you want.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, like I said,
Do they-
freaking. Oh, go ahead, Angela.
Do they take out your whole femur?
They chop the top of it off and put a pound an artificial ball joint in.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, they don't do the
So
whole
basically,
femur.
you would
They
be able to use it as the top of your cane.
right.
Okay. I'm sorry, I had to check because I was like, isn't that just like an entire leg replacement at that point?
No, but it's
Oh
like
no.
almost half.
And you can buy femur tapped canes too.
But I mean, like they made Burke a good villain, and like what was also nice is Patrick Lucier. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Was also one of the writers. Him and Todd Farmer. Oh shit! And Todd Farmer. Oh, he played Frank as well. I don't remember what Frank did. I think he's one of the ones who died.
I think he might have been the boyfriend or fiance.
Maybe.
I think so. Maybe.
I mean, if he was, that's fucking hysterical.
The stunt scene, Mr. Scott said the stunt scene I walked in on was executed subpar given the low budget. Superb, sorry. Given the low budget cheesy movie, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, so one of the writers did play the fiance, the cheating fiance. So the one who died was one of the main
So
writers.
yeah,
That's awesome. He played his own death. But I mean, he also wrote My Bloody Valentine a few years prior. He was the writer, one of the writers at least for Jason X.
How much was the budget? It had a budget of between 45 and 50 million. That's not sufficient given today's numbers. That's pretty high. And but it only made 41 million back or box office. So I guess it was a flop. I guess that's why we never got a second one.
there is a character listed on the cast list as just fucking passenger.
Well, there's also Guy with Camera Phone.
Yeah, the one from the
When she
Trailer park.
when she knocked the whore out.
Yeah, which is funny because that was her name was actually Mona.
Oh, Mona was yeah.
Hyper Lee, Norma Jean.
Yeah, Norma Jean killed me. I'm like going, you guys dug deep for those names.
Yeah, they did.
Also, that girl is definitely not a Marilyn Monroe.
I mean, she was cute.
She might have been a Norma Jean. She was not a Marilyn Monroe.
I mean, that could have been her entire name, Norma Jean. Just Norma Jean.
Love this was like, you're not the first to get out, and I doubt you'll be the last. But I've got to know, how did you get out with the God Killer? I just walked in and took it. Oh, what do you want
I
him to do
love
when
that.
he finds out? What's he gonna
What are you
do?
gonna
Not
do?
let me back in?
Now let me back in.
Oh, apparently the director of this one also did like the directing of The Purge, at least the
Oh,
first
shit.
one.
Oh, Joe?
He directed the My Bloody Valentine remake. I'm pretty sure that one was a remake.
Was
Apparent-
that the one with David Boreanaz?
Yes.
Maybe I want to say it also has Jensen Ackles. Yeah, it has Jensen Ackles.
Yes, my Billy Valentine. That version of my Billy Valentine.
And Todd Farmer
remake
was
has
one.
Bloody
been-
Valentine.
And Todd Farmer was
Yes.
one of the writers in that one. He's Frank the Trucker in it.
We need to watch the original because it's a slasher and Mitch would love it.
Apparently, he also did Dracula 2000 for directing
Ugh. He gets 5 demerits for that one.
and writing. Well, and he
Yeah,
also
demerits.
helped write and direct Dracula 2 Ascension and Dracula 3 Legacy.
It was nice seeing Pruitt Taylor Vince. I was really kind of bummed that his role was so small, though.
Yeah. And as far as we know, he didn't die.
No, wasn't he like a bartender?
Yeah. But he was the one who dealt with the guy who later on gets shot because of he would Cage called Burke out for or King out for being dickless.
Yeah.
That's true.
He made him swear not to tell anybody. That's fucked up. But you can tell they were in a fucking cult because they were fanatically loyal to him.
Mm-hmm. You seem to serve two masters.
I knew that one girl was gonna turn around and end up getting herself. I was waiting for her to get herself killed
Yeah,
the one that was holding on to the kid.
because I knew she was not going to just let him kill the baby.
Yeah. And I like how even though they said that this was going to do X, Y, and Z, like even the accountant was kind of just like, yeah, it's not going to fucking do anything. Like the devil hates getting kids sacrificed in his name.
And again, I just love this version, even though you don't physically see the character of the devil. He's rather interesting. Again, he's not this malevolent monster. He's just a warden of a really big fucking prison.
Yeah.
If you like that concept here, you might try the series Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I know.
Isn't that the one based off of The Endless?
I have no idea what it's based off of. I just saw the series and it was really good.
Yeah, I just don't.
I think it's based off of The Endless because Morpheus, who is Dream in The Endless, and Lucifer have a war, and Lucifer essentially gives up hell says, you know what, I'm out. You win. I'm not gonna fight you. It's over. Here's hell. You run hell, and he just goes off and.
Not at all what happened.
No, I know at least a season or two, what Lucifer is trying to do is find the power to basically put his mom back in heaven.
Oh, I'll look at it.
He literally just leaves hell because he's bored.
Yeah, that's. I think that they are connected. Lucifer.
I don't know, but like what was nice about this movie was the fact they didn't go into a bunch of over explanations. Other than basically everyone who's watching and a few others knowing that Cage is already dead, which is why they can't kill him.
Again, I think they
really love that part of this. Everybody just keeps coming back to that. You get to those like I'm getting that a lot today.
Again, I think they should have kept his eye fucked up. It really made him look epic. Like have him going into the final battle with the messed up eye.
Well, it would make more sense that depending on how it was that a dead man would uh, basically regenerate that stuff. So that way, if physical torture was what was going to be done to him, it could continuously be done.
And if you looked, his eye wasn't completely back to normal either.
Yeah.
It was a couple of shades lighter than it originally was.
Well, I can always assume because he didn't expel the bullet, and the bullet was still fucking with his eye. Like that'd have been interesting. Like if as he's healing, like he pops out the bullet from his eye.
That's
And
honestly
so
what I was expecting to happen, but they didn't do.
Yeah,
Nicolas Cage as the Wolverine.
no, just imagine the scene where he's looking at his eye in the mirror at Webster's, and he just grabs it, drops the bullet out of his eye as his eye heals. I'm gonna make sure I shove that back in him. Again, he drinks from his skull like he said he would.
Mm-hmm.
And now he doesn't exist anymore because his soul has been destroyed by the gun.
I agree. He got off light.
And again, he said he just walked in and I just rolled in and took it.
All right. And they didn't use a Buick Grand Ashton, Mr. Scott. The first vehicle he uses is a 1964 Buick Riviera.
Mm.
Then it goes to the Dodge Charger, then to the 1969 Dodge Charger, then to the 1971 Chevy Chevelle, and then finally a 1957 Chevy 150. Which, God, that was a nice car.
Pretty cars, pretty cars.
Yes, they were.
Because
I
that's where
can't help this. Go ahead.
Still sending them for not using the Hemi.
Well, it was also kind of making fun of the boyfriend for being like, why would you choose that one?
Oh, good point.
I mean, especially if you looked at his license plate on there, it did say drive angry. Then he had the bumper sticker that says I brake for pussy.
And he's driving the 440.
I'm just loving the cast list. I'm reading it. We've got cultist with iron pipe and cultist with sickle, and Latino busboy.
Yep.
Yeah, for him.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for Latino busboy. Like, he didn't even get laid before he got killed. Well, he didn't at least, we're at
How
least
did they
assuming he
kill
got
him?
laid before. Yeah, he died. The cultist killed him.
Bless you. Bless you.
Bless you, bless you.
Because before they leave the hotel or motel or whatever, she sees that he's dead.
Oh.
Bummer.
And then it's funny, out of the only other ones to survive the hotel massacre was the chick that, Candy, that Cage was banging, and she's just like, I can never go back.
Like he I, like. I
never disrobed before a gunfight.
And then they kicked
We
the door.
usually
And
announce the movie for next time after we're done talking about the movie, Mr. Scott. We'll get there.
you know a movie that you can tell the movies we like because we're on topic. We had very little distractions.
Well, this is just, it's
And
a
what
fun
tangent-
movie.
Sorry.
Hmm?
And what tangents we do go on are generally more related to the topic itself. It's a great movie. There's so much. Yes, it was an awesome action, like guns, cars, shoot 'em up,
Bang bang.
evil magic, weirdness.
I wouldn't even say it
There-
was
It's
magic.
actually, if you're the type of person that likes to sit and it's divine magic, but it's still magic tier. If you watch if you're a person who watches the movie to like get lost in the actual like subtext of the movie, this is still a good movie for that.
Yeah, this is a movie that you can you can just like sit down, shut your brain off, and just enjoy it. Or you can look into it a little further and catch the nice little nuances and nods that they did.
Exactly.
If you want lore, it's got lore.
Hmm.
Like I was saying, I really want to watch it again and just actually focus on the movie because there are so many like different angles you can go at it from too.
Mm-hmm.
And weirdly enough, it's made me actually want to watch Paradise or read rather Paradise Lost to
I got
see
too many
if
books
it's
on the list.
basically just a modernized telling of that story.
Oh, and next week would be a Talking to the Void, Mr. Scott.
And I can't tell you, Angelo, because it has been way too many decades.
Yeah, I never actually. Paradise Lost is one of the ones that I have kind of a base knowledge of what happens in it, but I've never actually read it.
Yeah, I've got the base knowledge of the video from Wendigoon.
Pretty sure I have, just like uh, Dante's Inferno, which I had an old copy of the Divine Comedy. My house burned down.
That's
I have
another
yet
one
to
that I
read.
haven't read.
I have
Yeah.
a base knowledge of what happens in Dante's Inferno. It is simply tour guide down.
Well,
My copy of
You have
Dante's
a
Inferno
very
went
big.
up in an
No.
inferno.
most people don't realize that
Is
that's the first of 3 books because the next one after that,
El Paradiso and then Purgatorio.
no, Purgatory is the second
Purgatorio,
one.
then El Paradiso.
Yep. And it's funny
I had
because
all,
To heaven.
and the funniest thing is like for Dante in that one as he goes through, like at first he's in hell, you know, he has that whole thing of like these poor sinners, and basically by the end of it he's just like, nah man, they fucking deserved it.
Yep.
I actually saw this really weird anime that was a is basically propaganda for a cult that is kind of loosely based on the Inferno
I wouldn't be
and
surprised.
then goes like way super out there because it's actually a well established like people actually still follow it cult
Okay.
that started in Japan and just kind of expanded and is just really bizarrely weird because you have um relig- religion and science, and like the science people are gods too, so like Tesla's one of their godheads and Einstein's one of their godheads, and it's
What
just really bizarre.
But
what anime
also
is that?
I
she
I
doesn't
don't
remember.
remember what it's called, but I'll check with my game group.
And to let Mr. Scott know, the next movie, which will be in 2 weeks, will be Seeking Justice.
Seeking Justice.
Yes, where after Nicolas Cage's wife is assaulted, the husband enlists the services of a vigilante group to help him settle the score. Then he discovers they want a favor from him in return.
Oh,
Ugh. That doesn't sound good.
I was gonna say that's never good.
Well, it be that way sometimes.
You are who you are. Proves it.
But otherwise, for those on the East Coast, I wouldn't necessarily
Memorial
say
Day.
Happy Memorial Day because it's supposed to remember those who died.
How about drink responsibly, have a great weekend, barbecue something awesome,
How about honoring
and
Memorial
remember
Day?
those who gave their lives so that we could have.
And if any asshole tells you that you shouldn't have a cookout because of the people that died, tell them to go fuck themselves. The people hadn't died, they'd be wanting to have a cookout as well.
What better way to celebrate the dead than with repast?
They gave their lives so you could have that cookout. Get bent.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I think,
Tell them to have a COVID style.
but to go back to the movie, I think one of the things that did hurt the budget for this was the whole fact is it was at the time they had that whole big thing of doing the 3D for movies. Like I think this movie would have done better without the 3D aspect.
But some of the shots did look exceedingly well.
I mean, at least they didn't go near as bad as like God, I can't remember which Harold and Kumar it was that did it.
See, the thing is, I want to see it in 3D, just for the things that baseball bat scene and some of the other things.
Oh my god!
I don't think the baseball bat scene was 3D. I know the bullet firing was for a few shots. The
throwing the last piece of the bat was directly through the camera, so that would have been
3D.
That would have been 3D.
The truck going overhead and all the truck scenes honestly were 3D. Like it did this weird animation where it just looked really weird, and that had to be 3D.
Because I know, like in the final fight, one of his ones where he shoots the 1911 twice through the window after stopping, those were supposed to be 3D because you can tell of how they CGI'd the bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the first scene with the God killing gun.
Yeah, where it cuts his cheek.
And technically, it'd be all 3 scenes of the God killing gun.
Be careful.
I'm just saying that there are effects that they had in that scene that were there specifically to look cool and.
Oh yeah.
Remember, be careful. It has a kick.
And it did.
Yeah. But it's one of the few ones that would make sense of like it being a supernatural gun.
You see how he slid back on it?
Yeah. I do also, well, I mean, in all reality, it should have fucked up the car more than when he fired it.
The first time. Should have definitely thrown the car sideways. And if it kicks like that, you're not going to one-hand it and be able to use your arm afterwards.
Not easily.
Yeah, not easily.
Unlike
but
when
a couple of them,
unlike when a couple of them get shot with a 45 and go flying backwards, it's like it's not how those work.
He's mega cage.
And it's still pretty funny because with that whole thing, technically Amber Heard was only responsible for killing one cop.
All right, fair enough.
Because the one cop, when dying, shot the other.
Yeah.
And the other bit is that technically speaking, from a legal technicality speaking situation, the cops went in with unlawful excessive force outside their jurisdiction and everything. It would have been if the evidence came out and was put together, would have been considered a justifiable homicide.
It'd have been self-defense on her part. They're outside the jurisdiction without prior warning.
That's what Will said.
I know.
And apparently the character or the accountant that Fitchner portrayed is also very similar to the agent he played in the TV show Prison Break. Because he specialized in manhunts who escape from prison. Or for escape prisons.
Why reinvent a character that you've already got mastered?
Pretty much. Like, I don't remember if I've ever seen Fitchner in a lead role, but god damn is he such an amazing supporting actor.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
And a villain. Because he's been a villain a few times as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, technically, he was one of the villains in the second live action Ninja Turtles movie. Not the second movie, but the second iteration of the movies.
Yeah.
I was going to say the second movie, the one on the farm? Well, no, they went to the farm in
The first movie.
the first one. I know I saw the second one. I don't really remember what.
Unfortunately,
happened.
the second Ninja Turtles is not as good as the first, in my opinion, though most people consider it that
It is
way.
not.
Even though it did have the great scene with Vanilla Ice.
Ice Baby, yeah.
Go Ninja.
No, Go Ninja Go.
Go.
But because Jim Henson had originally made the suits for the Ninja Turtles, he got really disheartened when he saw the violence of them using of weapons. So for them to use in the next movie, they couldn't use their weapons against people, which is why everything was done more jokingly with stuff.
It went slapstick.
Yeah. And the third movie is not as bad if you want to give it shit for. Pretty much the Ninja Turtles is always known to hit the supernatural, and have time travel, all sorts of shit like that.
I wasn't bothered by it. I actually liked it.
Well, the whole problem with that at the time was that, you always had the Shredder as a common enemy that got foiled. But if you have him getting foiled in every movie, you might as well just go to the TV show. Like, they had to figure out a new enemy. And the fourth movie, which is technically the continuation of the original series, is the CGI movie, TMMT, which is not bad. And has, Patrick Stewart is one of the voice actors. And clown Ernie Reyes Jr. was in the first Ninja Turtles. He was just as one of the turtles.
Yep.
I believe actually, I don't remember which one he played.
I can't remember. I know that Corey Feldman was the voice, I think, of Donatello.
Yeah. Well, most people like the second one because of that, of having Ernie Reyes Jr. in there and everything. But honestly, if you're going to look at like getting closer to the comic book, the first one is the better one.
Disagree. I liked one way better. My brother says that 2 was better than 1.
I mean, again, the second Ninja Turtles is one of the other few movies where people would consider, some people consider it better, but most will consider it almost as good as the original. The other movie that would go for that for most people would be Terminator 2.
Yeah, Terminator 2 is far better than Terminator 1.
I don't think it's far better. I think it's about as good.
I think it's superior.
And see, that's the thing, is most people about our age tier would think that, because for most of us, T2 was the first one we saw.
Fair enough. But I honestly think T2 is better on the grounds that Sarah Connor as this weak damsel in distress really didn't sit well with me after seeing her as this, kick-ass mom thing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's because you saw 2 first. Here, you're entitled to be wrong.
So that's the funny part, is
fine.
I'm one of the ones who saw 2 first as well, but after going through the whole thing of starting to understand character growth and everything, it would make more sense to see her in the first. Like, it makes less sense than Terminator 2 or like Terminator Genesis, I think it was, to where they had when she was still known as Ellen Page, I think it was, play Sarah Connor, and she's the one telling Kyle Reese, "Come with me if you want to live." Like, that fucked up way too much canonicalness, and they tried to make it that, like, it's kind of like I bring up when we were having that argument with Batman about the remake of Night of the Living Dead and having Barbara's character grow instead of just being distraught until her death.
Dude.
All right. Okay. All right.
Again,
Let me
we're not
explain.
saying that you don't have the right to have the opinion of that. We're just explaining it, like, of why you could see her in the first one as being more of the damsel in distress.
All right. So the story one also creates a bootstrap paradox that makes no fucking sense. All right. So John Connor, in the initial timeline A, John Connor is born. Skynet happens, and he becomes the leader of the resistance. However, Skynet decides to send a Terminator back in time to kill John Connor's mother before she can have John Connor. So creates timeline B. Timeline B is where Kyle Reese is sent back by John Connor, who becomes John Connor's father, and sets everything in motion
Spoilers.
for a damn near 100-year-old movie. However, the problem I have with it is the bootstrap paradox, because on the initial timeline, where the fuck who's John's father?
Yeah.
Again, it's a bootstrap paradox that makes no sense.
Unless it's one of those whole things that it was supposed to be, that this is always the way it was going to be. Is like there was always that person that came back in time because of whatever.
The story hinges on the fact
Yeah.
that John Connor sends Kyle Reese specifically.
In all reality, what should have been is that John Connor's father was somebody else from that time. And it what should have been, in all reality, for the first one was that Sarah Connor was pregnant with John Connor.
At the time.
Yeah, that's the way it should have been, instead of changing it to where it was that, or where he was became the father. But I'll be back in a moment. I am going to grab a drink.
It's just my opinion. The movie, for the time that it was shot, was it went from a horror movie to a sci-fi action thriller. You know, it had Arnold Lily played a horror movie villain. What you want? You want to sit here and see and hear me debate about the philosophy of a 1,000-year-old movie?
I
Sorry, my
take
cat is-
umbrage with that. The movie is not 1,000 years old. I wasn't that young when I saw it.
I mean,
Oh.
we all know that you're a trillion. You saw the formation of the universe. God said, "Let there be light." You got pissed off and started to the dark places. We all know this, Will. Stop trying to lie.
Terminator 1 was not a horror movie.
It was literally a science fiction horror movie.
I watched Terminator 1. It was not a horror movie.
But it had the feel of a science fiction horror movie. His singular purpose was to kill this one chick. It was literally him being a slasher villain. He was Michael Myers without Michael Myers.
It was a thriller. It was a thriller action. It was a thriller action movie.
Music's been popping in my head.
I knew he was gonna do that.
Yeah, because like you had that one going in, and like when tears like it creates, you know, it's like you go back in time. It's like I'm sitting there like going back in time. I don't remember. I don't remember.
It was not a pure science fiction movie. I'll give you that, but I would.
Which movie?
It's not like Alien, where it was.
We still talking about the first
Terminator.
Alien was a horror movie.
Oh yes.
Whereas Aliens was an action.
Aliens was an action horror.
Nah,
It still has
it was
horror
not.
elements. Hence why the action goes before the horror. Not just because of being alphabetically.
No, to me it's more of a sci-fi action movie.
Yeah.
Not a horror movie.
All right. Okay. Hold on. All right.
That's why I said it still has horror elements, though. But to go back to the whole, nope. We're gonna go off this one because we already talked about character growth and everything. We're gonna go back to the original movie and the whole fact of showing how Amber Heard's character Piper, after getting her shit rocked by her ex-fiance, realized when she had during her fight with King that she wasn't just going to be able to fight him like she would fight another woman, that she had to actually try, and she still got her ass handed to her for the most part.
Well, at least she put up.
But she was willing to fight, and she was willing to fight fucking dirty.
Yeah, she kicked him in his dickless.
Yeah, I actually really liked. Okay, this is going to sound. There are people that are going to hate me for this, but I actually really liked that it showed what a fight between a woman, even a woman that could hold her own, against a man straight up would be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was unarmed, trying to fight him barehanded.
And she realized she would have to use her environment, and in the end, she ended up using the dude's jewelry against him. His desire to be fashionable got him hurt dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think he would have learned the lesson about his vanity after the first time he got stabbed with his own jewelry.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I was
people don't
actually
learn.
talking about her boyfriend, not her.
Oh yeah, with that one.
Not him.
Oh yeah, with that one, it showed it that's how it's going to be. I mean, she plausibly could have had a chance, but she would have had to go about the fight differently. Like that's where they had that whole thing to where it's like she grew from there of having the thought process that she could just stand up to a man like that. Then everyone else made him look like a bitch.
Yeah.
The accountant made it the worst.
Again, the text.
You're fun.
If only he'd have listened and not tried to be. He just stood there and asked to be, not to be let down. He'd have been fine. Just let him leave, and he'd have been okay.
No, because clearly it was his time. He was just gonna hang there and die.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have turned around and killed him.
Plausibly.
He just got tired of listening to him talk
Yeah.
and decided that bleeding out was too good for him.
Well, and that whole thing, because of human free will and everything, he changed his own fate.
Yeah, he could have lived. If he'd have been a little kinder and not picked up the bed.
He could have been a contender.
I mean, look what he did to. He gave Lou the fat fuck a choice. He said, do I have to add dead to the to make it a dead fat fuck? And he shut the fuck up. He backed down.
Well, that's because that dude was a pussy.
Yeah, but it does seem like he would have killed him if necessary.
I still just love the whole thing when they get to that of like him being able to tell when someone's gonna die. Two stoners that show up and he, hits the whole thing and he's like, Jesus was a carpenter. And for the record, he wasn't fond of long hair.
You could have killed me. You're gonna die at 76. You'll be fine.
He's like, no, I didn't.
However,
he's like, no, I didn't.
I'll see you in 3 months.
He's like, you're gonna live to be 72. I'll see you in 3 months. And just walks away.
What?
just his interaction so many times with like the random person. Like he knew what the woman wanted to get her to basically give him what he wanted was to be that like more charming, a bit more aggressive for the waitress.
Mm-hmm.
For the cook was to be the aggressive asshole. That's why I was like, or the dead fat fuck.
And he knew how to get the cop to get what he wanted. Like he put on his ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Like your ambition.
Gosh,
like
the
no,
cop's
yes we
sitting
are.
there running around going, like a raise and a promotion, a raise and a promotion. I'm like, go fuck yourself, dude.
He played on his greed.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other cop had he said something like, "No, look, come on now, we
Yeah.
At this point, it's not our responsibility, or we should rail this shit in." So he got him killed.
Yep.
This goes against everything our department says. Shoot, to kill.
Yeah, it's just such a fun movie.
He now you think about it, like he should have known that it wouldn't have killed him. It just made him even angrier. It just
And
dude
then
just got up and kept going.
I want to say, so I gotta look up which one came first. So, okay, so they definitely took the shooting scene while having sex from Shoot 'Em Up, because Shoot 'Em
Yeah.
Up came out in 2007.
That was really, really awful. I feel so bad. That girl is never, ever going to be the same.
No, she is not.
No.
Not ever.
On the plus side, she stopped being a whore.
Yeah.
Well, she probably stopped pretty much everything.
She's
Hey, I
she's
didn't
gonna
say
take
there
out
weren't
the-
downsides.
She's gonna go to a Sunday school and become a
No,
again
she
Christian.
is sitting in a rubber room somewhere talking to walls.
There are worse things she can be doing.
That's true. You're gonna be talking to me. Don't y'all all fucking
It
say no, Tier. No, that's not
doesn't
true.
get much worse than that. So
What the hell, all of you?
Didn't say anything. Why am I getting sent to hell?
Because you didn't assist me. You just yeah. No, Tier, talking to you is not that bad. Just talking to you is like fun.
guilt by
I
association.
didn't say anything.
He didn't give enough time to respond, so you get guilt by association.
I gotta respond instantly. Fine, then you know what, Andrew? I'll take back my go to hell a year. I'll just say go to hell, Will. But I'm watching you.
Now I'm creeped
Great. Now I've got a creepy stalker.
Yep, I'm actually in the bushes behind your house, Will, looking at your cats.
They're not in the window right now.
Well, remember, you don't want to break in or try to get in because Michigan law is on his side.
You know that weird tree in your yard that looks like it's a person holding their breath, closing their eyes, just holding like two branches with a hat of leaves on his head? How are you doing?
You know, my girlfriend can hit every part of the backyard.
You don't see me. You don't know which tree I am.
It may surprise you, for all my physical shortcomings, I've got pretty good night vision.
Oh, you're a fucking cat. Of course you got pretty good night vision.
I did not realize Billy Burke was in the fucking Twilight movies.
Yeah, he's Charlie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know which person that is. I've never seen him.
Charlie is Bella's dad.
Oh, so he actually plays the one that they should have made the story about, of him being like a vampire hunter or some shit.
That would have been interesting.
Mm-hmm. He is also in Red Riding Hood. That came out in 2011. Oh, he did the voice for Commissioner Gordon in a couple of Batman movies. For the animated ones.
Well, I mean, it would have been more interesting to have him being the voice for Commissioner Gordon for a live action one.
Yeah.
This person's going out there, but we hate their voice, so they're lip syncing the whole thing. We're going to have somebody else voiceover.
It's before COVID, but they still wear a COVID mask. They wear a surgeon's mask.
Oh, I never
I've
did
seen
watch
worse.
that Red Riding Hood.
Which Red Riding Hood?
The one from 2011 with Amanda Siegfried as Red Riding Hood.
2011.
Yeah, a teenage girl finds herself in deathly straits when her village sets out to hunt the werewolf that terrorizes every full moon.
I think I've seen that one.
I have not.
Nope.
Ow.
I know I've seen him in more than the Twilight movies. I just
Yeah,
couldn't tell you
he's
for
got
sure.
a lot of them. He's got a lot of credits
Ooh, A
for
Long
the
Famous
sequel
Spider.
Bike
That was a
Sad.
good movie.
Yeah, pretty sure I've seen that.
What's going on, Frosted? Yeah, he's
No,
like a lot
Frosted.
of actors that have done more like support roles, whether they be a villain or just supporting actor, where they've got quite a few TV show episodes they've been in as well.
Apparently, he's doing a TV show called Fire Country right now.
Yeah. And last year he was in a movie called Bloody Axe Wound.
You.
It's a dark
Charming.
comedy, parody, slasher horror comedy.
Also the
so
also
the
the
whole
name of a documentary about transgender surgeries.
it says Abby
Yeah.
Blakehead's family business, a video store, has thrived by disposing of teenagers to mimic horror movies. As the first female slasher, she battles gender bias while realizing the harsh realities behind mass murders.
Don't want to see that. It just sounds fucking stupid.
It actually doesn't sound so bad because it sounds like the whole thing of like the people who run the video store, they basically parody movies, or it's like horror movies and everything. And her parents didn't have a son like they expected, so she's now trying to follow in the family business.
I mean, I've definitely watched worse, so I've got a little bit of interest here.
I mean, it doesn't sound absolutely terrible. It doesn't look amazing, but it also looks like a lot of the people that she's going to kill are just complete fucking assholes. But it does look like they made her gay.
So you got to figure out in that I ran out of A list and probably 3/4 of the B list horror movies about 10 years ago.
My brother says Darth Vader was an old white guy with the voice of an old black guy.
Yeah, and the fucked up thing in a way is they did not tell the guy who was playing Darth Vader that he was going to get a voiceover.
Yeah,
that was really
apparently he
fucked
was
up.
kind of a douche.
Well, his original, like they are seeing the original test footage of the Death Star when he breaks into the ship to get Leia, and his voice just he does not fit what they were trying to do for Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Well,
They
maybe
wanted
if he
the
stopped puffing helium.
They wanted the imposing. He's also like Swedish or something.
He went. I don't know, chaps. Hip hip cheerio.
Oh, I'm gonna have to find the 2004 movie Billy Burke was in called Outbreak. It's a zombie movie,
Okay.
but it's a psychological thriller. It's a psychological thriller about a state park ranger husband and his wife struggling to come to terms with their missing teenage son while dealing with a local mystery that questions their relationship. In the end, their grip on reality. But like, it looks like they got zombies.
This is the show where he most hit my radar. It's called Revolution. It was a really interesting, like, the first season was fantastic about how there's suddenly a massive outage that completely basically just completely destroys everything technological. And he plays like one of the people trying to figure out exactly what happened. But it turns out
I saw part of this show, I think.
But then it went really, really off the rails, and they could have like kept it going well.
Yeah, because like, I've seen this show as well, because like, guns are only for like the army or the militias,
something like that. And they turned around and it turned out that the reason everything shut down was because of nanites that they made that dismantled everything.
Yeah, and using the right jewelry and whatnot, you could still use electronics and everything.
Yeah. It started off good. The first season was amazing, and then it just went so far off the rails. It was like,
yeah, because in the first one they take the mother and the son who's like autistic or something. She goes with the one army and whatnot. So the daughter goes to find her uncle, which Billy Burke plays, and they end up. I can't remember exactly what, like, they have like it's like the daughter and the mother, something like. They end up having a guy who like works for the militia that they're going up against and whatnot, who had joined them for a little bit, but they didn't. Burke's the only one who knows that he was a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I only saw like the first two or three episodes, because I just remember he's got a sword that also basically is, in all reality, is more like an extremely long trench knife, because it's basically a knuckle duster that has finger holes, which is fucking stupid for a sword.
Yes.
Yeah, his introduction for him into Revolution is in a sword fight. Oh shit, he was Burke was also in a 2010 adaptation of David and Goliath.
Oh.
Except for it's not the standard David and Goliath you think it is. It's David, a Jewish resistance fighter, flees for his life as he's being hunted by Nazi soldiers and is saved by a ferocious German shepherd who ultimately becomes his savior. Which, by the way, the dog's name is Goliath.
Is Goliath.
I did not know that.
That is fun. I like that idea.
Yeah, because that one has Esposito in it as well, because he plays a amazing villain. I cannot pronounce his fucking first name properly.
Giancarlo
Esposito?
I didn't know what it was supposed to be, because that doesn't look like Jean. It looks like Gian. Looks like it's supposed to be Gian. Italian. Looks like it's supposed to be Giancarlo Esposito.
It's Italian. It's Giancarlo.
But it's been 81 minutes and we've been all over the goddamn place.
Yes, we have.
So have a decent Memorial Day. We're gonna go with the standard son of a bitch safety brief that we would go with for the military. Don't add to the population, don't subtract the population without just cause, and if you go to jail, establish dominance quickly. And also Tyr, that stripper doesn't love you.
She said she loved me. That's why I gave her all my money. You're telling me Cinnamon doesn't love me? You're lying.
Aww.
But for everyone who stopped in and listened to our off-the-wall meandering for parts of it, we try to stay on topic as much as possible, but sometimes we don't. Just kind of the way it goes. But if you've never seen this movie, I do highly recommend it. I know some people aren't the biggest fan of Nick Cage, but I like him in most roles.
But what the heck's wrong with you?
You don't have to be a fan of Nick Cage to enjoy this film.
Yeah,
you're right.
Well, I know,
I
like,
have to be a fan of action movies and tits.
I was just kidding.
well, I know, like Jack Cochran says that, like, you know, you can replace Nicolas Cage with about anyone else, and it's still the same movie. I personally disagree with him.
So do I.
You could not replace him with just about anybody in this movie.
Well, he thinks the same thing for Tom Hanks, and I would disagree with him for most of Tom Hanks's movies.
In some of his movies, yes, you could. In some of his movies, not all of them.
Like, I'm sorry, you cannot replace Nicolas Cage in Face Off.
No, I'm talking about Tom Hanks.
Yes, you can with John Travolta, clearly.
Well, hence, you couldn't replace John Travolta either. Like, those two were the pinnacle of that movie.
They were perfect together.
No, he's going to take.
The
I want you to take his face off.
Thank you for killing my my joke.
We do it for free, so you know.
I know. You're like the perfect hitman.
I mean, they definitely should have replaced him with someone else in Time to Kill because. Yeah.
And I'm still pissed at you, James.
Let it go, Tyr.
I can't.
You might as well just make like Elsa and let it go.
Nope, I refuse to let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Turn away and slam the door.
They must know my suffering.
Oh, jeez.
I hear about nothing but your suffering. Get over it.
Good. Nobody can know about it.
Okay. So, drink responsibly. Eat something bloody.
And that's not a period joke, Frosted.
Honor those who gave up so much for us. And go to the movies.
To quote.
Yeah, there's actually supposed to be some good movies coming out this year.
To quote a good king, "Hail the glorious dead."
Drink responsibly, eat responsibly. If you're gonna screw, do that responsibly.
There's no sex in the champagne room. Always remember that.
I just caused a big blip on your gaydar with that Frozen reference. You also have to understand, I'm also a Kingdom Hearts fan, and it is in the third game.
Oh, God,
also, the only reason why I tried to the only reason I even watched that movie was, and that whole thing was because of a girl I was trying to get with. And honestly, the movie's not as bad as people want to make it out to be. It's by no means great, but it's okay at best.
It's really not bad. It isn't the Snow Queen.
Mm-hmm. It's
but
okay-ish.
But it's not a bad movie. If they weren't trying to turn around and if they weren't trying to turn around and say that it was the Snow Queen, it would have been a better movie.
Well, I mean, originally for that movie, Elsa was supposed to be the villain as the Snow Queen, but then when they came up with a couple of the songs and the voice actress who did the voicing and singing for Elsa, they heard the song, they decided to change her to be not a villain, but not necessarily the hero, so to speak. Anna is still the hero. I mean, it's
Well,
still no
they
worse than what they did with all of their live action remakes.
they
Yeah.
assassinated the boyfriend, essentially the other prince. It was a character assassination. Like, he wasn't wrong. But they had to make him the villain.
It doesn't matter. It still was not the story of the Snow Queen.
No.
See, and for
If
me,
you read the Snow Queen, which I read several times when I was a child, and you went into it looking for the Snow Queen, you would find not even a trace of the story of the Snow Queen.
I have no
Yeah.
clue who the Snow Queen is.
It's an old fairy tale. Yeah, if it weren't for the song, it would just be another forgettable Disney movie.
and I've got coverage against Frosted's
Which is-
gaydar thing because dad with 3 daughters.
And like honestly,
Which is-
Tangled was better.
Which is funny because the song that I actually liked from Frozen was Fixer Upper.
I like Do You Want to Build
Not
a Snowman?
Let It Go. Well, that one's cute too, but Fixer Upper was the best.
There's
song.
a
Was
reason
that
why
the
I
one
like
with the
it.
trolls?
Yes.
What?
That was a good song.
The reason why I like Do You Want to Build a Snowman is because there's a gif where she puts her lips to the keyhole to sing, and Will Smith puts the gun to it, and then
Yeah,
the
from
girl
Bad
that
Boys
does
2.
the scream, yeah, and then the girl that does the scream goes.
The Wilhelm scream.
No, it's not Wilhelm scream. The girl from Toy Story 3, if I'm not mistaken, 4, whatever, which one it was, screams bloody murder because she's looking at the iPad.
Oh, yeah.
Bees will buzz. Kids will be delight.
See if I can find the GIF. I'll show you.
Does in summer.
I know what you're talking about. They made a video out of it and someone made a GIF into it. Or into a GIF.
I want.
Fixer Upper was still the best song from that movie. I don't care what you say.
Like, heck, if we're going to talk about that whole thing, I still have to give my dad shit because, I mean, granted, it's his, for the most part, his friend's daughter and that whole thing, but she would hang out with that, visit my folks occasionally and whatnot. And she, from what I'm aware of, got my dad and mom to watch the entirety of the Twilight movies.
Oh God, I watched
And
all
I'm
the
like-
Twilight movies because I had an ex-girlfriend that was into their shit.
I have 3 daughters.
I did not watch them, though I did willingly walk into and watch He's Just Not That Into You, which is a pretty good movie, actually.
That's actually a
Always Gonna Be
really
Leaving?
great movie.
I'm also
I
the same
love
person
that
that because it came on one day when I was cooking, and shit, this was when I was somewhere between 18 to 20-ish.
Oh,
So
last year.
almost 20 years ago.
I thought it was leaving.
I was, yeah, it's the way it goes.
Yeah.
I was cooking food and the movie 13 going on 30 came on. And I watched the entirety of it because I'll
that
watch
movie. Those are great
romantic
movies.
comedies and whatnot. And I will still say after learning more and more and what I know of son of a bitch, everyone knows him as the Hulk now, or as Bruce
Mark
Banner.
Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. I'm glad majority of the characters he plays are the ones who got cheated on. And just Frosted blip.
Okay.
I mean, with the shit you read on Medium Frosted, you're way off into it. You actively search it. All right, there, bucko.
It's okay, Frosted. We know your pain.
Rotn is just preparing for when he meets a woman.
I've met several of them. I'm just romantically retarded and I don't go out.
I'm going to correct myself. When he meets a woman that is worthy of his stature.
Balance.
Yeah, I've just never thought romantic comedies were necessarily bad. It's just there are some other ones that are bad. It all depends on the movie.
Some of them are bad, and some of them. The problem with romantic comedies is they are very formulaic.
Like for the one that led into He's Just Not That Into You, it's I used to, like, this was pretty early on in my military career. I'd go over to a buddy's house since he was married, and we basically, the three of us would get like me, him, and his wife would drink and like trash on dumb movies occasionally, or play video games or whatever.
But that's like Monkey's all-time favorite that he always talks about and says the title wrong every fucking time. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, my
I mean-
cousin went and saw that in theaters, though I don't believe him and his gal actually sat through the movie.
It's actually a really good movie. I really enjoy it.
Wait, nope, sorry, it wasn't How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. It was
He's just not that into
no, it wasn't He's Not Just That Into You. It was 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah, no. This is a different movie.
Yeah.
This is Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
and
How to
Kate
Lose
Hudson.
How to Lose a Guy in 10
Oh.
Days is her going to write an article for like how to lose a guy, basically. So she's basically just being a complete and utter bitch from what I'm aware of. And he's got a bet with his friends to like stay in it for the long haul, or like for longer than some time frame or something.
To convince long enough to convince long enough to land he's a marketing guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying to land an account to sell diamonds.
Mm.
Whereas she is a writer for a magazine that she wants to write actual like real news stories, but they keep making her write advice columns.
Mm-hmm.
And her editor promises her that if she manages to do this one column that she was inspired to by her friend's ineptitude with men, about how to lose a guy in 10 days, she will be able to actually write a political article to see if she can fit in that category.
And Tyr, you keep your degeneracy BDSM shit off my chat.
And it drives me nuts
What I'm
because
saying.
Monkey keeps saying how she keeps making how everybody has to the guy always has to apologize. The guy always has to apologize. And if you actually watch the movie, her article ends up just being a giant apology to him for the shit that she put him through. Before he does his big, I'm gonna drive across the city to try to get her before she goes out of town and let her know that I'm still into her, kind of thing.
Because like if we're gonna be honest, when it comes to like the romance as well, they're in action movies, they're in comedies and all sorts of shit. Like you could consider Crocodile Dundee more of a romantic comedy, although it'd be more of a comedy romance.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a romantic comedy with the emphasis on the comedy.
Terry, you just feel that way about romance movies because you're single and you don't realize that it's your own fault.
I realize it's my own fault. Shit. I realize it.
Wow.
It's just that I don't like romantic movies. I'll watch them if there's nothing else on. But will I go actively and seek
won't.
them? Yeah, I will.
But I've got my own reasons that
I suffered through
there's-
Twilight.
Well, I mean,
That's not a romantic comedy unless you're talking about how ridiculously bad it is.
Did I not say I suffered through it?
basically, like from everything I'm aware of, Twilight is basically like Bridget Jones' Diary, just with vampires and werewolves.
No, Bridget Jones's Diary was good.
I repeat the first answer. I suffered through it.
Well, what I mean by that whole thing is it's basically like she pretty much has men fighting over her when she shouldn't have men fighting over her.
So I had to do a sleep study, like literally like maybe a week after I saw the movie.
You had sleep apnea?
Yeah, when I was younger. This is when Twilight first came out, and I saw it with my girlfriend and her friends, and I was in the sleep
Best
study, and the
romantic
nurse would
comedy
put
is
it.
The Room.
They yes it is. They would put me in the sensors, and you were talking about the movie. And I'm like, oh god, I had to suffer through it because I love my girlfriend. But honestly, the movie was terrible. And we spent like 20 minutes as she's putting these goddamn things on my forehead and my face and whatnot, talking about how this movie was terrible. Or I was talking about how the movie was terrible.
Twilight or Bridget Jones's
Twilight.
Diary? Okay.
Twilight. And she asked me, why did you've been holding that, you've been thinking about that for a while. Yes, because I couldn't tell my girlfriend because I love her. I can't tell her that movie was just shit and I hated it.
Twilight would have been good if it wasn't for Edward and Bella.
Yeah, Twilight should have
Twilight
been
would have been
about
good if it was
the dad.
the books. But
From everything I'm aware of, because like they dealt, like I guess he did have a friend that was a vampire. Like I'm completely spitballing off what I can kind of remember while being slightly intoxicated.
all right, look.
Like he kind of knew a vampire, he kind of knew a werewolf, and they were basically like dealing with ones that were trying to fuck with the human race of being like, nope, nope, nope. You guys live in the shadows, do whatever that shit is, but the rest of people in that whole thing, you leave them the fuck alone, or we're gonna fuck your ass up.
All right, look, the again, he is a he is 100-year-old man creeping on a child that's barely out of her teens.
Yep.
I'm not gonna argue that with you again, too.
It's true though. He's a full he's an adult.
Tier. I like
Yes,
Queen of the
I'm sorry.
Damned and that whole thing, but if you look at the even the main female protagonist in there that gets brought up that ends up with
The stat.
Lestat, and that one, she is still
She's an adult.
Yeah, she's an adult by our standards. But she would
She's
still
a college student.
she
going
would
for her
still
master's
be
degree.
considered a child by their standards.
All right. The defense of that one is
No. You can't have it both ways, Tier.
I can, because it's a big difference between a 16-year-old and a about 25-year-old.
One, you can back up off the mic a bit.
I can. I don't want to. I want to do the ASMR.
No.
You can't ASMR and shout into your mic, too.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, all right. Again, for that one. Secondly, she grew up with vampires. Her great aunt Margaret was one of the elders. She was going to be a vampire no matter what.
Supposedly.
Nope. Margaret was going to turn her. It was just what it was. At some point, she was going to be turned.
I say, and God, I almost went Foghorn Leghorn on that one. I say. Like, you also have to understand the different parts of the country, also with different people, and I'm going to be a bit of the asshole. This isn't common in all women. This is common in a bit more women of having a thing for the older gents.
Again, it's a huge difference between
And depending on which part of the world you're in, if they were 16, still legal.
It's a big difference. All right.
Yes,
a big difference
we're looking at it
between
from
a 25-year-old and a
our
50-year-old.
morality. Oh yeah.
But it's not illegal though. It's
Yeah.
creepy. It's weird. It's not illegal. However, a 16-year-old and a 50-year-old, yeah, that's fucking creepy. And that's weird and creepy and illegal. A 100-year-old
our
and a
country.
60-year-old. In our country, a 100-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Yeah, and like we're not saying that we disagree with you. We're just saying like you have to realize you're judging it by your standard. Because like if you look at some of the old standards of even our own country, it still would have been like, it's all right.
All right, in Twilight, they were in what, Oregon?
But we're
Washington.
gonna go away from that one because the way it should have ended was either Sam and Dean Winchester or Blade. Frost said that is depending on the country.
Again, I say this, dependent. If this was the World of Darkness, they would have fucking had them all fucking killed. Like any decent prince would be like, nope, fuck you, you're not doing that. That's creepy.
Yeah.
You're dead.
But since we're on the topic
halfway
of vampires, do you think any of them will suck on a frozen tampire as a tasty cold treat?
Frozen
I think you
tampon.
need to rethink how you said that because you
A
did not
tampire.
say that the way you meant to.
I like it. It's a tampire. Headcanon established. Thank you, Rod. I mean,
Because like Frost said, I also have said one of the few things I give to the former Pope before his death was he actually raised the age of consent in Vatican City. It used to be like 13.
you live in Baltimore, Tier. That is the World of Darkness. No, I
mean,
said a world of darkness, not the dark world.
I mean, he does live close to DC.
I mean, yes, that's close as hell as I can get.
Or as I've
close
heard, Trump is
as
wanting
I
to change
can
it
get
from Washington DC to Washington DA. So instead of the District of Columbia, the District of America.
I mean, you got to go from America.
Am I slurring even worse than I expected?
Oh, that was quite funny.
All right, I gotta get some sleep because it's about 1.
Yeah, it's been almost it's been close to an hour and 45. So yeah, tangents we go on. We're almost as bad as Monk, but he's been doing this longer. So we're gonna get out of here. You have a good one, folks. Go see a movie or two, or rent one, or buy one, or find them on perfectly legitimate websites.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Enjoy your Memorial Day and your short work week, and hopefully, it's not a big pain in the dick. Have a good one, folks.
I will.
Good night, y'all.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Join us again next week, or you can check out the other people in the panel in the description and see us again plausibly on one of their channels, or just check out what work they've done. Have a good week, everyone.